Hi guys, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be looking at algebraic expressions, and we normally would learn algebraic expressions in grade 8, but it is required for grade 9, 10, 11 and 12. So let's get straight into it. Algebraic expressions. Well, what are algebraic expressions? Algebraic comes from the word algebra, and expressions, well, we normally learn that in English. So if you put the two together, we basically want to represent English expressions or phrases in mathematics. Now let's give an example of that. If I have to look at words to maths, the sum of, the word sum is associated with the addition operation or plus sign, just like the word difference is associated with the minus sign or the subtraction operation. Now these are our four basic operations: plus, minus, times and division. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Sum, difference, product, quotient. Expressions consist of numbers and letters. Letters are referred to as variables. The English meaning of the word variable means to change, and we will now use variables in the place of a placeholder, so something that we don't know the value of. We also need to know, for example, what are squares and what are cubes. Let's look at an example. What is a square? X squared is equal to x times x. 2 squared is equal to 2 times 2. X cubed is equal to x times x times x. Remember, the dot means multiplication. 3 cubed is 3 times 3 times 3. So if you look at what is a square, what is a cube? A square is any expression which will be now multiplied by itself 2 times. X cubed is the same expression multiplied by itself 3 times. As I mentioned before, unknown is a placeholder or a variable. Remember, variable means changing. So something that we don't know the value of. Like for example, we normally will use the letters X or Y or A or B. What is an expression? An expression, 2A is 2 times A or A times 2. Now the order doesn't matter. However, we will now follow the alphabet, or basically alphabetical order. So we want to go A, B, C, D, E, F, G and so on. Also 2 times A times B is 2AB or 2BA. If you had to expand 2AB, it's 2 times A times B. Everything in mathematics, remember, can go backwards and forwards. Remember that, with equal to sign. 2BA, 2AB, there is no difference, they are the same. But as I mentioned before, we will normally write it in alphabetical order. Writing algebraic expressions. To write algebraic expressions, let's example 12 less than a number is x minus 12. 12 less than a number is x minus 12. Terms are separated by plus or minus signs and are joined together by multiplication or division. At this stage, let me just tell you that brackets means multiplication. So if I have x plus 2 into or times x minus 3, now that is brackets, so it means that this is a binomial times a binomial, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But for now, just know that terms are separated by plus or minus signs and are joined together by multiplication and division. We'll do examples of that just now. Let's look at some examples. How many terms are in the expression below? 2a plus 5b plus 8. Remember, terms are separated by plus or minus signs. Therefore, 1, 2, 3. So therefore here, there are 3 terms in this first expression. How many terms are in this expression? 2a plus 5 plus 8. Now remember, 2a plus 5 is in brackets. Remember what I said about brackets. Brackets joins an expression. Therefore, we are left here with 1. So that's 1 term. And there's another term here. So therefore, there's 2 terms in that expression. 2a plus 5b over 8. Remember, terms are joined together also by division. And there's our division sign there. Therefore, in this expression, there's just one term. Now let's look at some more definitions. What is a polynomial? What poly means many. So polynomials, very simple definition would be, consists of more than one term or many terms. Monomial. Mono means one. Therefore, a monomial consists of one term. Binomial. Bi means two. Therefore, a binomial consists of two terms. Trinomial. Tri means three. Therefore, a trinomial consists of three terms. Variables, as I've mentioned, are letters, and variables are basically unknowns. Coefficients. Coefficients is the number in front of a variable. The number in front of a variable. Don't forget to include its sign. For example, if I ask you, what is the coefficient of x? Answer is -2. The coefficient of x is -2, the number in front of the variable x. Constants, terms with no variable. So a constant is a term with no variable. Basically, it's a number. Exponents or an index is the number the variable is raised to. Basically a power. The exponents or indices or index is the variable or the number the variable is raised to. Degree, highest exponent of any variable in the expression. So we are going to be looking for the highest exponent of any variable in the expression. Now, here, ascending powers. Now we normally will ask or be asked a question, right, in terms of ascending powers or descending powers. So here it's just basically for us to understand what the word ascending means. Ascending means that, and if we are asked to write in ascending powers of, let's say, x, it means that you must now write from the smallest power to the biggest power, starting with the constant term. In descending powers of x, you will start with the highest power and you will end up with the least or the less power, and you'll end up with the constant term, if your expression does have a constant term. We'll do an example like that just now. Calculating the value. Now for calculating the value, you're going to see a little bit later on, we'll need to know substitution. So to calculate the value of an expression, we need to substitute a particular value that a variable would be equal to. So they'll tell us, for example, if x equals to 1, calculate the value of the expression, or if x equals to 0, calculate the value of the expression. Remember to substitute, and yes, you can use a calculator there. Smallest coefficient. Smallest coefficient means the smallest number that is attached to a variable, and the largest coefficient will be the largest number that is attached to a variable. Now these are all different types of questions that can be asked in a question, in an exam question, in a test question. Alright? Now let's look at a past exam question, and this is how it's normally tested in a test or exam. Let's go through it together. Now remember to pay careful attention, because I've got an example for you to do after this. Example 1. Consider the following expression. Minus 5x plus x squared minus 4 plus 7x to the 4 minus 2x cubed. Rewrite the above expression in descending powers of x. So descending powers of x, remember, is from biggest to smallest. So from the biggest power to the smallest power of x, and we'll end up with the constant term, which is the biggest power of x, you can see here. There. But remember to include its coefficient, because that's one whole expression. Okay? So if you really look at it, okay, how many terms do we have in this expression? Let's count very quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this expression actually consists of 5 terms. Let's write the terms now with the highest power first. So that will be minus, minus term, yeah, this one. Plus 7x to the 4. So therefore, plus 7x to the 4 will be the one with the highest power, right? Okay, so plus 7x to the 4. Right, that's the one with the highest power. So the one next will be minus 2x cubed, right? And then plus x squared, and then minus 5x, and then my constant term will be last, which is negative 4. Remember, always double check your work. So 7x to the 4, the highest power, then comes x cubed, but the whole expression or term is minus 2x cubed. Then comes plus x squared, then minus 5x, and then plus, or rather minus 4. Okay, right, so I think that's all in order. Okay, so that's now rewrite the above expression in descending powers of x. So 4, 3, 2, 1, and then the constant term last. So write down the constant term. There's the constant term there, negative 4. What is the degree of the expression? Remember, the degree of the expression is the highest power of any variable, and that will be 4. Write down the term with the smallest coefficient. Let's go look for the smallest coefficient here, right? So negative 2, positive 7, positive 1, and negative 5. Which one do you think is the smallest coefficient here? Obviously, we can't consider the constant term. So out of all, I think that we would here settle on negative 5, right? So it will be minus 5 is the smallest coefficient. Let's double check. Minus 5, is there anything smaller than that? Positive 1, no. Positive 7, no. And negative 2, no. So remember, if we know our integers, minus 5 is smaller than minus 2, alright? Now, what is the value of the expression if x equals to 0? So the value of the expression if x is equal to 0, remember you've got to know substitution here. So if we substitute, we'll end up with minus 5 times 0 plus 0 squared minus 4 plus 7 times 0 to the 4 minus 2 times 0 cubed. And what's that going to equal to? Remember, anything times 0 is 0, so all of these terms with 0 in them are going to disappear, and you'll just be left with negative 4. I showed you the working because remember that when you're going to calculate the value of any expression, if they give you a value for a particular variable, I would want you to substitute, and after substitution you'll be able to work out the answer. In this case, we can actually do it by inspection. Okay, now let's look at the next example. Now remember, I already told you, if you were asked how many terms are in this expression, there would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terms in this expression. Okay, that could be another possible question. Example number 2. In example number 2, just consider the following expression. Give the coefficient of x to the 4. The coefficient means the number in front of. So the number in front of x to the 4 is negative 8. Now, I just started the question, but what you should have done is pause the video at this point, try to answer the questions, and then come back and check whether the answers match your answers. Okay? Well, you can also try and do that with the question before. Well, if you haven't seen the solutions already. Okay, so let's continue. Write down the constant term. Constant term will be, remember, a term that's not attached to a variable, so that will be positive 10. What is the degree of the polynomial? The degree means highest power in this expression. The highest power is 6. How many terms are in the polynomial? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember, terms are separated by plus and minus signs. So therefore we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terms. Last question. What is the value of the expression if x equals to 1? Remember, now when we're calculating a value, what do we need to do now, boys and girls? We need to substitute 1 wherever we got x. It's going to be 7 times 1 to the power 6 minus 8 times 1 to the power 4 plus 2 times 1 cubed minus 3 times 1 plus 10 equals 2. Now at this stage, well, we can work it out without a calculator, but I'm going to use the calculator in this particular example. Okay, now, so I don't really encourage the use of calculators in grades 8 and 9. However, in the exam, we can actually excuse that. I mean, you have to learn how to use the calculator at some stage. So 7 times 1 to the power 6 minus 8 times 1 to to the power 4, right, and plus 2 times 1 cubed, okay, and minus 3 times 1 plus 10. Okay, let's just double check that very quickly. Plus 7 times 1 to the 6 minus 8 times 1 to the power 4 plus 2 times 1 cubed minus 3 times 1 and plus 10 equals to 8. So my answer is equal to 8. And that's it, boys and girls. That's your introduction to algebraic expressions. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, you can subscribe to my channel JL Maths. Check out all the videos on jlmaths.com. You will find it there. And I'll catch you in the next video.